Right, good afternoon and welcome along. 2 seconds, I was just looking at something else on Excel there, but we'll go back there in due course. So it is 18 minutes past 12 on Monday, the 15th of July 2024. And that means that we've completed 2 weeks. Sorry, that would be a good while ago. We have completed 2 years and 15 weeks of this roughly 8 year FIRE experiment. FIRE, of course, standing for financial independence, retire early. And I think it's fair to say that a lot of people, as this movement progresses, are tending to kind of drop the RE part of FIRE and just focus more on the financial independence aspect of it. And I suppose indeed, I mean, the financial independence side of FIRE is really the most important part because it gives you options. If you want to, it gives you the option to stop working earlier than you might otherwise. And I suppose another reason that perhaps people are moving away from the RE side of FIRE is that not only do a lot of people find that they don't actually stop working, but maybe they just do something which they find more valuable, let's say to themselves or to society, but which perhaps doesn't attract an income to speak of, but nevertheless you could still regard it as a form of work. And I suppose the other obvious thing is that when we talk about retirement, a lot of people have notions that attach to the word retirement, including, but not always, but to a certain extent, including the idea of people being older, the idea that they are perhaps drawing a pension of some sort, whether that be a workplace pension or a state pension. And of course, if you're financially independent and you are quite a bit younger than what might be regarded as normal retirement age, then you're not going to have access to a state pension, and there's every likelihood that you're going to be too young to be able to access any workplace pension that you may have already accrued. So I suppose from those perspectives, the use of the word retire early, or the term retire early, is perhaps a little bit misleading. So I think that's partly why people have tended to focus on the financial independence aspect of FIRE. But guys, with all that said, let me just point out that there are 2 days and 2.5 days roughly. Whenever I looked at it just before doing the video here, it said 2 days, 11 hours left in order to try to access the free shares offer. So I've mentioned this before, and to be honest, Vanguard does run. Sorry, not Vanguard. Trading 212 does run these free share offers every so often. Pretty frequently, in fact, I would probably say over the last year, my guess is that there would have been a free shares offer running for roughly a quarter of it in total. So basically, the free shares offer is where you can use an affiliate link to sign up to Trading 212. If you haven't already signed up, And if you do use the affiliate link, which is in the description for the video, you will receive free shares up to the value of £100, and likewise I also would receive some free shares. And I always say that I would not want people to go ahead and use the affiliate link to get into investing unless it's something that you've already looked into and you've decided it's right for you. Because the last thing I want is for people to come in to sign up to an account, to fund their account, to put money into something that they don't really understand, and then end up seeing that crash and selling out for less money than they had invested, and actually, as you might say, ending up with a loss over the head of it rather than not investing at all. So if you are in the position where you have already done your research, you were already about to sign up to some kind of an investing platform, and you've looked at Trading 212, and I don't know, let's say for instance you had compared that with some other trading platform and there wasn't, there was next to nothing to choose between them, then maybe in those circumstances you might decide to go for Trading 212 on the basis of the free shares offer and the affiliate link that's in the description. And if you do, if you find yourself in that position, I would be very pleased if you would use the affiliate link that I have there. But as I say, I don't want anybody who doesn't know what they're doing to go ahead and do that, because it could all go badly wrong. And that's the last thing anybody in their right mind wants to see, is somebody jumping in, not knowing what they're doing, and ending up making a big loss. Right, with all that said, as we can see, the market is open, and today it is up around about 1/8%. So really very little difference, I think, from last week. In fact, I suppose if we look, I don't know if we can really see a week on the chart here. There's the 15th, so that's today. What's the next candlestick across? Next candlestick across is the 8th. Yeah, and you can kind of see that the top of those candlesticks is roughly about the same. I can remember last week saying that the market was up just shy of a quarter. Or sorry, not that the market was up, but that the return on investment was just shy of a quarter, so not quite 25%, and that's still roughly where we're at here. Actually, things have shifted just very slightly while I've been talking, but not significantly. So let's go ahead and we'll put in our weekly £120 worth of theoretical pounds into the market. So as always, I'm using the Vanguard S&P 500. £120 basically because from my calculations of the sort of money that you can make on Band 2 within the NHS, that's the sort of roughly weekly amount that I think most people should be able to find if they are being careful with their spending, and it is the kind of amount that should let you achieve FIRE within a reasonable time frame, so that you have the option to either retire early or to leave work and do other things with your time, if you choose to do so. I'll go to the Excel thing after I put this in, and we'll do a little bit of looking to see what I mean, because I think it's probably worth looking at it. Again, it's been a while since I've done that. So anyway, let's move on. So we're putting in £120, and as I say, I do this each week. At today's market value, so around about 82.42, that's going to buy us roughly 1.45 shares. So let's put that through as a market buy. So that's just going to execute at whatever the best market price is that's available right now. And we should see the execution appear up here. And the average price currently is sitting at 66.71. So we'll see that change probably in the upward direction, and we'll see what that comes to after the execution. Current portfolio value just before I send this through, 17,649. Okay, so that'll go up by 120 near enough. So it has executed. We bought 1.455 shares. It sounds as though the purchase price was not bad. And our average price, I assume, has updated. I forgot what it had been. The portfolio value now is sitting at 17,769, and our current return on investment is at 23.33%. So all in all, not looking too bad. And as I say, we're 2 years and 15 weeks in. The reason that I call this an 8-year journey is that at a rate of £120 per week, the £50,000 pot that is provided on the practice platform on Trading 212 will run out after 8 years. I cannot I can't continue to invest beyond that, because there'll be no theoretical money left in the theoretical pot. But if you look up at the top left, I don't know if you can see that, but the theoretical pot is now actually worth 53,300, simply because of the increase in the value of the portfolio. So there you go. And funny enough, of that pot, we've only got 17 odd thousand invested. In fact, it's less than that, because the 17 odd thousand is that includes the growth, if you like. There is somewhere in this where I can actually see what I have put in. I think it's maybe, is it in this bit with the pies? Maybe not. Let me go to this view. So I wonder, can I see it here? If we do that, okay, actually it's up here. This is where we can see it. So if you see where it says portfolio, you've got the current portfolio value just underneath that. Then underneath that you've got the breakdown. So you've got invested and you've got plus return. Okay, and those two figures together are what give us our 17,769. So the amount invested is actually 14,405. That's the actual amount invested. Now, the reason that there's a bit of a decimal there is basically that there was once a week. I forget if I had forgotten to do the investment or if I had done an investment too many or something. Anyway, basically it was some kind of an action that I took that I needed to reverse. But of course, you can't sort of cleanly reverse an action because the price is always changing. So even if you've done a purchase and then you go back and you sell it, the sell price is going to be slightly different. So you don't end up getting back whole pounds kind of thing. So there was something like that happened, and that's how we've ended up with a slightly odd decimal at the end there, because otherwise it should have been just around 00. But anyway, with that said, it's a bit difficult to make out, but if you are able to look very closely at that graph, you might be able to see the investment line as a fairly straight grey line, roughly where the mouse is. Okay, so the investment line is roughly there. And what you can notice is that the gap between the investment and the portfolio value is widening, and it's widening gradually, which is a good sign. That is kind of what we should be expecting to see, but it's just reassuring that that is actually what we are seeing. So guys, with that said, let's have a look at the notifications, and then I will go back to the Excel thing. So that's our purchase that we've just done. Then we've got Burberry plunges 11% after ousting CEO amid disappointing quarterly results. I believe that's the clothing brand Burberry. Then we've got Wells Fargo drops 7% as higher rates pressure net interest income. I genuinely don't understand what they're trying to say there, but I think Wells Fargo is a bank in the United States. I'm not very sure. Then we have Citigroup up 3% after topping quarterly estimates amid rebound in Wall Street activity. I, believe it or not, actually used to work in a back office capacity for Citibank, based down in Dublin. I have to say that that has absolutely no bearing at all on my interest in financial independence. The work that I was doing there was unrelated to investing in any shape or form, and in fact they were extremely careful and strict about maintaining separation between the investment side of the business and every other side of the business as well. But as I say, I have some knowledge of Citibank just from having worked for them years ago. But I don't know about their investment side of the business. And then after those notifications, we simply come back to the investment that we had done. That says 5 days ago. I'm not sure. Is that right? Was it only 5 days? Maybe it was. I know it doesn't tend to always be exactly a week between broadcasts. So let's just look at the price there actually, because 5 days ago, so we were buying in at 82.64, and today we bought an 82.44. So the price is actually slightly lower than it was then. So today 82.44, and then the time before that again was 82.28. So the price has fallen back from 5 days ago, but it hasn't fallen back as far as it was 12 days ago. So we're kind of in the middle there at the present time. Nothing really much to say about that other than it is what it is. Right, yeah, I did mention I was going to have a little look-see at the Excel sheet. Let's make that a little bit bigger for those that can't see so well, or indeed those who can't easily zoom their phone screen. So the first year on this I actually counted as year 0, so that's there. Then we had year 1, and now we are at year 2. Oh, here, hold on, I've just realised I have not frozen the frames on this, have I? Okay, I've frozen the frames at the top but not at the side. That's not so good. It would be much more useful if we had the side frame frozen as well. I wonder, can I do that easily? Do you know what? I don't know how to do that easily and quickly, so let's just ignore that. So I said that we are in year 2 and we've got 15 weeks completed. So I've put the cursor on 15 weeks there. Let's just run across to year 2 and see roughly what we should be looking at. So that square that's highlighted there, oh, didn't mean to do that. Nightmare. Let's come out of that. Okay. So that square is where I would have expected things to be normally, at 16,180 near enough. But if we look at the portfolio, as you can see, we're at 17,750. As opposed to 16,179. And basically what happened is the market is in a recovery phase. So the annual increase at the current time is better than the average of 10%. And of course this table is, this spreadsheet is calculated on 10% investment. And that's why this is lagging behind. Okay, but what I'll do, what I want to do is I want to generate, sorry, I created this before and I didn't mean to. I want to generate another sheet where we can look at the annual amounts just to see what this works out at. Okay, so what I'll do, I'm just trying to look and see, is there anything just trying to work out, has this been, have I done this before? To a certain extent, this is perhaps actually what I'm thinking of here. Because I can see here I've got a notional income of 1,500 per month. Then I have calculated, depending on different percentages, how much of an annual investment would be put in if you were using different percentages. and I have looked at, oh goodness, let me undo that. I have looked at, what have I looked at? Basically, I have looked at these figures over a length of time. To try to see at what point does fire happen and how long does it take to get there, and essentially what rate of investment do you need to use to make it work. And actually what I had done is these bits of the sheet where things are highlighted in green, those are where fire is achieved. Or when fire is achieved, if you see what I mean. And in the calculations that I've done, the earliest point that fire was achieved was at year 13, and that was with investing 50% of the 50% of the monthly spend, I think you would call that. No, actually it's not, sorry, it's 50% of notional income. And well, basically if you were to invest 50, well actually it's not, no, do you know what it is? It's the amount of money that you need to be spending each month. So if you were to invest 50% of the money that you were spending each month, then you would be able to continue doing that sustainably after 13 years investing. And this is assuming that you need to be spending $1,500 per month. So if you're spending $1,500 per month, you can continue to do that sustainably if you have 13 years of investing, and you're investing half of your income, which then allows you this, well basically it should bring you to a portfolio pot of just under 250,000, and at that point then you should be financially independent. Just actually wondering what figure I set for that, for those different years there, and I'm noticing that there isn't anything highlighted for year 15. Oh sorry, no there's not, is there? No, but then I suppose there wouldn't be, because it's based on the percentage at the side here. But then why is it 284 and not 251? Maybe, do you know what it has to do? Oh, here we go. So yeah, I should have looked at this a little bit closer on the left hand side. So basically what I've done here is I've said there's a notional income of $1,500 per month, right? Then I have said that your living expenses are these various amounts, okay? So in other words, if you've got living expenses of 1425, that means that your fire target is going to be high, okay, because your expenses are virtually all of your income. And your fire target is supposed to be your living expenses times 25. So in other words, for this particular individual, that's 427,500. They're only able to invest £75 a month, which represents 5% of their income. So for 427,500, obviously, as you go across here, you'll see that because they're only able to invest a small amount each month, the total doesn't build up very quickly. And not only is the total not building up very quickly, but it is not coming very close to the number that we need. So there you can see the fire target reproduced again on the right hand side of the graph. So after 20 years of only investing 5%, this employee has built up a pot of 56,700, but they haven't achieved financial independence, because for them financial independence would need 427,000. Now they will be able to go on a nice cruise, they will be able to go and buy couple of nice cars, something like that, but they will not be financially independent. So that was at 5%. If you look at the 10% savings rate, obviously the fire target is a little bit lower, it's just over 400,000, and yet after 20 years it's still not achieved. Now what I would suggest is that if you are kind of in this bracket where you can put away 10%, you may not necessarily achieve financial independence, but you might want to think about reducing your working hours as you get closer to state retirement age. You might think about dropping from a 5-day week to a 3-day week, or going part-time or something like that, because at the end of the day, there's no point in knocking your pan in, working flat out all the time, if you're going to have to work right up until state retirement age, and then end up with a pot of 113,000 that you don't know what to do with. Now that said, you could hypothetically use this as a way to buy a buy-to-let property or something like that, and that may well be something that can give you a little bit more income when you come to retire. Again, the 15% rate after 20 years does not achieve financial independence. Now maybe I should point out that in the full course of time, these rates will eventually get there. They will eventually reach FI, but after how many years, that's the question. And for my take on things, I think if you've been investing for 20 years and you've been putting money away faithfully for 20 years, really at that point you should really be hoping to be able to say, do you know what, enough is enough. I have made my money, I'm going to ease back now. I'm going to take it easy. I'm going to work a bit less. I'm going to change into working some kind of a job that I want to be working instead, etc., etc. And I suppose that's why I've looked at it over a 20-year time frame. And I suppose as well, because really, if you're serious about financial independence, surely you want it sooner rather than later. What's the point in taking 30 years or 40 years to become financially independent? You might as well just not bother and continue to pay into an occupational pension scheme and obviously your state pension as well, and just get those whenever you hit state pension age. So for my money's worth, if you like, I think that basically if you're not able or willing to invest at least 30% of your income, I would avoid striving for financial independence. And that figure is really based on the fact that after 20 years, this individual reaches financial independence. In fact, they reach it between the 19th and the 20th year. So maybe it's worth just going back to the start just to have a look at a couple of things that I have mentioned. As I say, this is with a notional income of $1,500 per month. The person on the 30% investment ratio has living expenses of $1,050 per month. They are able to invest $450 per month, and that gives them a FIRE target of $315,000. Now, as I have mentioned underneath here, your annual expenses will likely change over time. For example, your mortgage will, I've actually asked the question, will your mortgage be paid off by the time you retire? Let's hope so, because if it's not, I don't know what you're going to do. I've also asked, will you still need to financially support children, etc.? And I say that as someone who is currently paying child maintenance, and when that changes, obviously then I will not have a legal obligation to continue to pay that. So that money, at least in theory, would become disposable income again, and hypothetically speaking, that could reduce somebody's monthly living expenses from say $1,050 down to maybe 700 odd. And obviously, if there was another 300 there that you can move over to this side, well, that puts you into this bracket to all intents and purposes. At least in terms of what your FIRE target really, should be. So don't get too hung up on the idea that the FIRE target is a fixed thing, because as life happens and things change, when you actually do come to retire, you should find that the money that you need to live off, or your living expenses, may well be significantly less than what they are now. But anyway, as I say, for the 30% person, able to invest $450 a month, which is roughly what the experiment that I've been doing is based on. Let's just see actually after 8 years where they are up to. So in the first year, that's them in the first year. Then you have the second year, third year, fourth year, 5th year, 6th year, 7th year, 8th year. So year 8 they're sitting at just under 68,000 of a portfolio value, and they hit the 100,000. They actually hit 110,000 by year 11, and then they finally reach financial independence in year 20. So it takes a while, but they do get there. Now, if you take, on the other hand, somebody who is able to invest 50% of their income, so this is just another 20%. Now, another 20% doesn't sound like that much, but it's important in as much as the living expenses per month are so much different. There's £300 a month less that they need to spend. So that significantly lowers the fire target. For the 30% group, the fire target is 315,000. For the 50% group, it's only 225,000. And for the 50% group, as you can see, they achieve financial independence after only 13 years. So their target is 225, and after 13 years they're round about that. In fact, it's between year 12 and 13 they actually end up with about 242, assuming all the assumptions made before remain true and that the market does deliver. Right guys, that's been a bit of a longer video than is normally intended, but I just like to look at the mathematics of the whole thing from time to time, and I feel it's beneficial. It maybe helps people to slightly better understand what FIRE is all about. The main person that I personally follow is J.L. Collins, who is the author of the book The Simple Path to Wealth, which you can get on Amazon. Highly recommended. And that's it for this week. There's lots of people that are in the FIRE community that have produced books, videos, the whole works. J.L. Collins doesn't hold anything back. All the information that's in the book is also online for free. To have the book is simply just to have it all together in one compact point of reference, I suppose. On the whole, the FIRE community is not about it's not a sales pitch. You can take it or leave it. The information is freely available out there, and it really just depends. How much do you want financial independence for yourself? Are you prepared to do the work? Are you prepared to make the sacrifices in terms of keeping your expenditure down while maximizing your investment, and are you prepared to do that for the length of time necessary to achieve FI? In my situation, I am, and I'm in it for the long term. I expect to reach financial independence in the next 9 years or so, and I am looking forward to it. But as I say guys, that's it for this week. If you enjoyed this particular video, why not give it a thumbs up? If you're interested in following the journey, please subscribe to the channel, and I will be back again next week with more. And in the meantime guys, have a great end to your Monday. Thanks for watching.